Welcome to another episode of Menopause Matters, where we're here to look after your menopause needs. I know how difficult it is to navigate to this period that every single woman must go through. It doesn't have to be such a horror if we have the knowledge of how to deal with it. So today I have an expert in the field. I have Bridget here, a holistic health coach, to share with us how to reclaim your mood, your fertility, and having better, happy hormones. Hi, Bridget. Thank you so much for joining me today. Please tell us a little bit about yourself.
Hi, Martha. Thank you for having me. Yes, so firstly, if there's one thing I am super passionate about is women feeling enough so they can live out their desires. And if there's one thing that makes us feel not enough and really crappy, if you like, is hormones, out of whack hormones. This was me for many years. My worst symptoms with peri and menopause was fatigue and depression. Navigating that journey was the biggest challenge I've ever experienced. It was incredibly frustrating. Went to several doctors, had those blood tests come back normal when I felt anything but normal. It was just, I felt like I was going around in circles, getting nowhere fast. So that's what led me to, I went down all the rabbit holes and I tried a million and one things, dietary wise, supplements, therapy. I mean, there is nothing I haven't tried. So yes, and now I finding a solution through healing our metabolism is what I love to do now, is to help women achieve just happier hormones so they can live a happier life.
That
So
sounds
yeah.
that sounds like a story that we hear every single day in our group because we are suffering. And to be honest, about 11 months ago when I got the group, I didn't really understand menopause. And I'm so grateful to have this opportunity to learn from different experts, to learn from other women who have gone through it and just find it so challenging to overcome. So if I'm
Mm.
going to ask you the first question, how to input our mood and regain balance during this menopause stage?
Mm. Well, improving our mood and achieving that balance is the same. The solution is the same for pretty much any symptom we experience in with our hormones. So our metabolism, our metabolic rate underpins our overall health. It is also, by the way, the precursor to aging better, aging well. But it is what underpins our hormones. It is the foundation for building, for having happier hormones. So healing our metabolism is how we convert food to energy. And that's not just physical energy, it's how our system converts energy for sleep and our mood, our overall well-being and vitality. So our food system, our current food system, is not set up for us to win in this area. For example, there's the processed food system, all those processed oils, the PUFAs, polyunsaturated fats, are a metabolic nightmare. So what we want to do is just rein it back and eat more whole foods, more nutrient dense whole foods, which is what our processed food system is there's just so few nutrients. So we're not our body needs those nutrients. So if we think back to how our grandmothers ate, and our grandmothers didn't have as ramped up hormonal symptoms as we do today. And we also have a lot more stress. We're more sensitive to stress as we age, like in our 40s. So we're sensitive to also insulin. So first and foremost, we want to be balancing our blood sugar. Diet culture has led us down this a dangerous path with restricting certain food groups. I've been one of these people. I've been down this route thinking that was for the better, but I've just come out and learned the hard way. We want all the food groups. So women fearing carbs, I totally get it, because I was one of these people, but our metabolism, our cells' most preferred source of energy source is glucose. So carbs are really only a problem when they're eaten on their own. We balance it out with protein and some healthy fats, then we're not going to get that blood sugar spike. It's the spiking and dipping, the constant spiking and dipping, that causes the problems. So, and that in itself, like if we have just one day of just eating balanced macros, like protein, carbs, and fats, we will notice a huge difference in a shift in our mood and how we're feeling. This will also impact our sleep. If we're eating like 3 to 4 hours a day, whether it's a snack or a meal, and our sleep will improve. But if you've had, say, a busy, stressful day and you haven't had time to fit in these meals or snacks, you could have like a carby snack with a bit of protein before bed. That waking up in like 3 a.m., it's a glycogen issue. Like our liver is crying out for its, its glycogen stores are low. So if we top that up with a little snack before bed, that can really help us get through the night. But so that in itself, yes, balancing mood, better sleep, blood sugar, eating all the food groups, the macros together. And it's the same with coffee, like coffee's not a problem. And it's only a problem if we have it on its own before eating any food the day. Like cortisol is what gets us up wakes us up. So we want to bring that down. We don't want to have coffee because it will just spike it again. So we want to have the coffee with food, with our protein, carbs, or after eating. So yeah, coffee's actually quite good for our liver, but coffee gets a bad rap because it does cause problems, but it only causes the problems if it's had on its own before food. Yeah, so I hope that made sense.
That's good. That's good. Thank you for your explanation. So, to understand a little bit more about how it actually affect our sleep as well, because even for me at the moment, I find it so hard to sleep. I really find it really hard to actually maintain my weight as well, and all of that. It feels like my body is going for a lot of change. So, what is your best tips about like having better sleep and having healthier weight and overall well-being?
So, I mean, we can also, I was talking about, balancing those macros throughout the day so our blood sugar is balanced, because this affects our sleep. But you can also eat perfectly through the day. But then if you've had a lot of stress in your day, if you've had a stressful phone call, this can affect our cortisol and of course our sleep as well. So there's lots of things to consider because we are more stress sensitive. So when we're talking about weight, that stress, cortisol, eating macros that aren't balanced, we just always want to make sure we're having that protein. We need a lot of protein, good sources of protein with those carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are the energy for our system, but we need the protein to balance our blood sugar. And that, so women have come to fear calories, and I totally get that because I was there too. But the more when we start to heal our metabolism, our body doesn't convert those calories to weight. It converts those calories to energy for our system. And the more nutrient calories our body is absorbing, the better sleep we have, the better mood we have, the more our weight starts to balance out. It's like that is healing the metabolism, and everything starts to balance out. Like whatever your hormonal symptoms are, it's whether you're hormonal or not, this is like the crux of everything, like our foundation for overall well-being. So yeah, whether it's weight, mood, sleep, it's the same kind of thing. The solution is the same. Balancing those macros, being conscious of what's stressing us, like what's stressing us out. I mean, it's December, it's a busy time. It can be a stressful time of year. So, and it's, pulling back on things that we that aren't essential, like making things easier than they could be. So it's we're just going to be really aware of like how sensitive we are to stress, and also having practices, whether it's meditation, breath work, getting out in nature, doing what really kind of lights you up. Like that's just anything that's going to take us out of our busy routine and just soothe us and de-stress us, because stress is huge. I ignored this for so long, and like just the littlest things can also stress eats away at our progesterone, and progesterone is our happy calm hormone, which we need for sleep, for good mood. For progesterone depletes in perimenopause and beyond, but we can eat foods that help produce that progesterone. But stress, amongst so many other things like weight and sleep, and it does it eats away at the progesterone. So progesterone is like gold. Everyone talks about estrogen, but progesterone is the absolute winner when it comes to hormones.
I hear you. I hear you. Estrogen has such a big effect onto it. Is there any product or things like that that you suggest us to use during this period?
Products. Well, I always I like to get women to a baseline, like when they heal their metabolism, their needs for balancing their hormones will be very different as opposed to how they might be eating now. So getting to that baseline is like we either need to supplement or we don't. And I often find that women don't need to supplement because they're so nourished. They've healed their metabolism. Everything's working and functioning in a healthy way. So that's first and foremost. That is like it's like the holy grail. So I like to, when we get to that baseline, it's just giving women those tools to heal the metabolism, heal the hormones, and then they may not need. I mean, I know there's a lot of women supplementing, and they can help because they're full of nutrients, those supplements. But then are they taking those supplements on top of a diet that's not supporting their hormones? So that's why we get them to a baseline before they spend a fortune on supplements. So yeah, I mean, this is coming from someone who used to spend a bucket load on all sorts of things. But yeah, this is what I recommend, getting to that baseline, and then we can add anything on if it's needed.
That sounds actually really right. It is what we need into it. So if there's any last things that you would like to share with our audience today?
What would I like to share? Just back to the point on, when just something I see all the time is women going to the doctor, like I did, and their tests are normal, but you feel anything but normal. I came out twice with antidepressants and HRT. So they weren't the complete solution because antidepressants is not getting to the root issue. The root issue is out of whack hormone. So, and the reason the tests come back normal is because there's so much more going on in our tissues than our blood. So our blood can only tell us so much. And our, I know in the, a lot of people like to push the estrogen, but the symptoms for a lot of women come from an excess of estrogen. So we have a lot of estrogen caught up in the tissues. And that's another reason why gut health and digestive health is so important. If that's not functioning optimally, the excess estrogen will recirculate back into our system. We don't want that. We want it to excrete it out. So I know this is really hard for women to understand, but there is an excess of estrogen in a lot of us, and it's in our tissues. So that's why blood tests come back normal and we feel anything but normal. So ways we can get it out of the system. Well, I don't know how much time we've got, but there's ways to do that.
Yeah, we can talk about that in more detail later as well. I wanted to actually ask you a question because someone in the chat actually asked, how do you know when menopause is starting?
Well, menopause is officially starts after a year of no period. So perimenopause is like that fluctuating cycle. It's not very stable, but then menopause is when you've had a full year without a period.
Gotcha. That helps onto it because I'm definitely like on perimenopause. My periods is completely out of whack, and having all those lack of sleep, mood swing, hot flushes, everything that people can actually name off. So
Yeah, well,
it is
everything I just shared, that is yeah.
that is the reason. That's why I'm like I enjoy what you actually just
Metabolism, it's everything. It's our cells, like it's our life force.
into it. That is just amazing. Thank you, Bridget. Can you tell people how do they actually get in touch or connect with you?
So I'm on Instagram and Facebook as Bridget Brocklebank. I have a Facebook group on Facebook, of course, called the Happy Hub. Of course, I called it the Happy Hub because I came from depression and I just want to help other women, fight this and become happier. Mm-hmm. And yeah, so the Happy Hub is what it's called. And yes, I would love to connect to anyone who's wanting to connect and know more.
Definitely. I will share your social media contact into the chat box there, so to let people know how to actually find you. Thank you once again for giving us your knowledge today. We really value you.
Thank you, Martha. Thank you for having me.
Thank you once again for all our audience and listener joining us on Menopause Matter. It is a topic that not many people talk about enough, and we can definitely do more by having more knowledge. So reach out to Bridget if you wanted to know more. And I thank you for everyone for tuning in. We look forward to seeing you at the next series. Bye for now.
Thanks, Martha. See you, everyone.